Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is the spring semester, and it's time to talk class. So, welcome. Please make yourself uncomfortable because this is a class that's been a collaboration between myself, Tim West, and my colleague, Eric Valentine. And there he is.
Hey, 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 hey.
And so we kind of we've come to you in an effort to mess up your break because here we are here to pardon the interruption. So please pardon the interruption. We kind of think of ourselves this way, except without the coats and ties or the Emmys. So,
Right, right.
but make no mistake, you get a heavy dose of dad jokes.
Yeah. And we don't argue quite as much as
Well,
Kornheiser
that's
will.
true. That's true. That's very true. All right, this is kind of our view of class because this is the main stage at Second City, and as I recall, the Second City's in one of your favorite towns, Professor Valentine.
Chicago, that's where I'm from, the greatest city ever incorporated in the history of municipalities.
He just let not a big deal to him, but nonetheless, don't offend him about Chicago. But we think of our class this way: it's like an improv theater. You never know from one day to the next how it's going to go. So we hope you embrace the journey and embrace the day-to-day effort that we put in to try and incorporate everybody into our class. But
And
this is
before anyone asks if there's anyone from Chicago there, the answer is socks.
all right. Well, I'll let you work with. You can work that out later. Bad news is I'm a St. Louis Cardinal fan, so and there is no other answer to that. But speaking of Second City, this is kind of the way we've built our teaching philosophy. This is what improv is built about, and so you'll see us talk about this setup. We call it six bricks and a slab. We'll talk about it again in a minute, but uh, our early part is about building a cohesive learning environment. Uh, Last semester, Professor Valentine and I were able to collaborate live. This semester, that's not going to be as easy. Certainly, in his individual classes, in my class, he certainly will come by as a welcome guest as his schedule permits. But at the end, we want everybody to make an impact. We want you to stay with us on that particular day. Always think about it as a collaboration. Make sure. Will we make any mistakes, Professor Valentine?
Um, Definite yes.
Okay,
Definite yes.
and so we suspect you will too. So we'll be tolerant of each other. Make sure you listen to understand, and ultimately we have to cede control to you because whether you're doing this fully online or whether you're in Professor Valentine's class, you have to be there with us, and we have to acknowledge what a big part of our journey you will be. So that's kind of our teaching philosophy. But these are our tools. And as we said, it's six bricks and a slab. So we'll try to give you this insight for every module that we go through. But that bottom phrase, Professor Valentine, is one of your favorites because students will,
Always know what's on the exam.
yeah, it's not a mystery.
Yep. It's keeping with the sports analogy, we throw high heat, we don't throw curves.
No. So if it's not covered in class,
Yeah.
it's not going to be on the exam. And we'll let you know specifically those items that are going to show up on the exam. So stick with us. That's why the six bricks and the slab are so important to you because it highlights those topics that you can see on each and every exam.
Right.
But we want you to remember up front the difference between teaching and learning. The teaching is on us. This is how we influence student learning. But the learning is on you. Okay. So it's what you do, what you think, and only what you do and think. So that's why it's a collaboration between Professor Valentine and myself, and a collaboration between your professors and each of you. Our goal. How do you like these, Professor Valentine? We want to challenge them, really?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. No, I was going to say no pain, no gain, but that's probably not the analogy I want to use here. But we want you to stretch the way you normally think.
Yeah, yeah. think about yourself, think about how you learn, and think about your future. Because in the grand scheme of things, this is just another 30-10 class. That's a foundational to get you where you want to go.
Mhm.
You may or may not ever remember anything in this class, but you will know more about yourself. You will learn more about how you learn, and you'll get some insight into what you want to do in the future. Those things we think are critical. Uh, but bottom line for us, if we don't change students in some way, what's the point of even having a class?
Yeah.
So that's why we are adamant about having a large synchronous component of every class, if it's online for me, or even the enhanced technology part, whatever that is, for Professor Valentine's classes.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
I, no. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's part of the, the half Zoom, half live deal, but
Oh, okay. That sounds like a Marvel superhero.
I was gonna say it's one of those nebulous phrases that they
All
store out.
right. All right. One of the things you'll see in the syllabus, we won't talk a lot about it here, but one of the things we harp on is this idea of mindset. And this is one of the ways you can really help us, because we always see students that tend to come in here, not all, but there's quite a few students that come in here with this idea of a fixed mindset. They're focused on their grade. They're motivated to validate their performance against what they perceive as their capability. They evaluate themselves relative to their classmates. Sometimes confidence is fragile. They don't necessarily like negative feedback, and they will focus on repairing their self-esteem in response to failure. And so ultimately, that winds up blaming other people, and often that's why they blame professors. That was a bad question. That was a bad test. They didn't do. They didn't do. And so ultimately, what Professor Valentine and I would like to see everybody do is focus on the growth side of the house. Okay. So Professor Valentine, take us through this a little bit if you don't mind. So if
Sure.
instead of outcomes focused, we want them to stay focused on,
Yeah, trust the process. Trust the
yeah,
process. The outcome would take care of itself. Just trust the process. When you are outcome focused, sometimes your process can get a bit screwy. You trust the
yeah,
process, everything will be fine.
there you
You
go.
know, and motivate yourself by your, it's kind of like golf. You're not really playing against other people. You're playing against yourself. And so, developing yourself, developing, your self motivation. That's what this course is more about, rather than looking side to side, comparing yourself to your peers. And assessing your performance, again, it's the same thing. Assessing your performance relative to how well you know the subject, not your score versus student B's score.
Yeah,
And we're all going to make mistakes. You can't let that knock you down. If your confidence is fragile, you're like, oh, the accounting is not for me. I don't understand. I could never get this stuff. No, trust me. If I have a PhD, you too can get a PhD. So yeah,
one
yeah,
one little additional word about confidence. If you see yourself losing some, you got two professors here who are more than willing to lend an ear. So
absolutely.
we are in many ways your biggest cheerleaders, even though we don't know you yet. But that's one of the things we enjoy about class. And then one of the things Professor Valentine says all the time is, "We've got your."
We got your back. We
So
got your back.
yeah. So remember that, and count on us as necessary. Always look for the. Let's go ahead and run through these real quick. Just trying to
Yeah.
get some balanced feedback,
Yep.
and think about think about hard work in response to failure. But if you find yourself going overboard with this hard work, there might be a more efficient way.
Yes. Yeah.
So again, talk to us if you need anything. One other thing we talked about in the syllabus is this idea, and you've got your first assignment, which is VIA. And it's a value analysis that helps you get back to this idea of learning more about yourself. Now, if we've asked you to share, we thought we would share ours as well. And so So, oops, I'm out of sequence. But nonetheless, this is what Professor Valentine said. Do you ever ask other people what grade they got on an exam? The question is, why do you do it? To make yourself feel better or to make that other person feel better? Are you looking for the
Right.
person that you know did worse than you so you can feel better? This is not necessary. Okay. Just adopt that kind of growth mindset and say, I'm competing against myself.
Right.
And so here we are with our VIAs. I kind of come down on creativity, humor. I love to learn new stuff, kindness and generosity and curiosity. Now, the thing that was interesting about these is Professor Valentine, in many ways, and I are alike. But in terms of these things, we're very different. And so we think that that makes for a good compliment. So do these sound like you, Professor Valentine?
Yeah, I think so. I'm fair to a fault sometimes, as my wife would say. Open-minded. I do value loyalty and teamwork. You can work with people that you don't particularly enjoy working with as long as you get the job done, which is not the case between me and Dr. West. I mean, we've known each other for 30 years and we're great
Yeah,
friends.
yeah,
Uh, I am cautious and prudent, and I work really really hard. I try to work really really hard to get the job done. So
yeah. That's
I
all.
think
That's
that,
all we can do, and I
yeah,
think that's why we've always worked well together, and why we've enjoyed doing this 30-10 collaboration.
yeah,
So with that, we'll close down this first video with one of my favorite quotes at the end. It's dangerous to make everyone go forward by the same road, and worse to measure others by yourself. It's your journey. It's nobody else's journey. We'll be there as we go through the process, and make sure you draw on the resources, because we probably know the material better than YouTube, and probably better than the person sitting next to you. So with that, uh, I don't see any questions. Do you?
I don't. I think we're
Okay,
good.
well then let's call this one off, and we will come back and do some more recordings for you. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See you guys.